Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just looking at the intro, and it's so funny because I'm literally in the midst of the biggest fight. That, by the way, was a really exciting, stellar scene to shoot, and yeah, I'm just grateful to have had that opportunity to do so. And it's really, really neat to see that every time we chime in. But I hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to the Vibrational Actor. I'm your host, Sean Robert Grant. So happy to have you here with me. So happy to be here. And as always, another amazing message we got in store for you actors, actresses, and performers. And guess what? Even if you're not one of those and you want to tune in and learn something that can help, your life, it will, right? It will. And that's what's neat, is that the vibrational actor spans across all genres of life, not just acting, if you really take the concepts and apply. But acting is our focus, and I'm very happy to be able to be in a space to be able to use it, right? So let's get down to it, guys. Any questions? Any questions about the book? See that a lot of you guys have bought the book already, which is awesome. You will not regret it. This is an amazing book. And it's an amazing book because I feel that personally, because I wrote it very concise, very short, so you could read through it a couple times. The thing for me is, a lot of times if I get a book and it's too long and I read it once and I put it down, I don't really get the gist of what it's trying to say. But if it's short and I can look through it, I can take notes, I can journal, I can do the action steps. It's so important to be able to have that happen, when it comes to getting books that can change and transform our lives. And it's been in the top 10 in Amazon's new sellers, debuted at number 1. So look, go grab your copy. There's a link in the bio, and you won't be sorry that you did. But if you have any questions about the book, any questions about anything as it relates to acting, whatever it is, write to us, write to me at seang04@gmail.com. Okay. And with that being said, let's get into today's message, guys. Okay. So 3 levels to succeeding in acting. Okay. 3 levels to succeeding in acting. And so what are those levels, you might ask? Well, once again, if you check out the description, which is really good to check out the description whenever we're getting started with this, because I try to do my best to at least give you an idea what's going to transpire. But we're always open to what is happening as it relates to the idea of what wants to be conveyed throughout today's message. Okay, so when it comes to success, there is a process to success. Okay, there's a process, and that process comes in 3 different levels. Okay, and so a lot of times what we'll find, and what I've seen in my experience, is if you try to go to one level too quickly, you'll fall flat on your face, right? Or you'll run into a roadblock, right? And it's just, I don't want you to have to go through that. I'd rather you do it in a way that I know is solidifying your path to success, right? So it's an understanding that what we're going to share with you today is a practical method in succeeding, not just in acting, but in life, right? And there's 3 levels to that. There's 3 levels, and I'm excited to share them with you. All right. So, and guys, also, if you have any comments, any feedback, it's a bit of a delay from the streaming to the social media site. So just give me some time. Normally, I'll probably just get back and respond to them later. But if you have any feedback in the comments, feel free to do so. That's what it's there for. So let's get into this. So we'll start off with number 1, bullet point number 1, know what success looks like for you as an actor. Okay. And so this is the intellectual level, right? So how does this work? This kind of pulls from number 2, but you become drawn to something In this case, you're drawn to acting, you're drawn to directing, you're drawn to something, whatever it is within the entertainment industry, and you begin to get familiarized with what success for you looks like. It gives you an idea, right? And I think the very first, like, serious person who I saw had success that I was able to sort of see what I wanted it to look like. And this was just a jumping off point, right? It's evolved so much since that time. But the first person that I saw that really had success that I felt like I wanted when I first got in was Will Smith, right? That's like was the epitome of where I wanted to be. But then over time, I realized, you know what? I have strengths in writing. I have strengths in teaching. I have strengths in being able to share the wisdom that I have. And so I wanted to do more of that while I was still acting on set and doing different things, so you can kind of see it evolves with who you are as a person, and more importantly, what resonates in your heart at the time. Okay. So always be open. This is only the first aspect when it comes to success, right? So you say, okay, I want to be an actor. Well, everybody wants to be an actor. Everybody wants to be a successful actor. So how do we go about that? Well, we find somebody who has a success that we think we want to have, and we study them. We look at them. We look at their life. We see what type of things they had been through, what type of classes they take, what type of techniques do they use, right? And so it's very important, biographies, autobiographies are all really good things to look at. And nowadays, articles on all these publications have insight for you as it relates to actors you follow and actresses. So don't get me wrong with that. Actors and actresses you follow that you could somewhat emulate, but it's more or less an example of a blueprint of what your career would possibly look like. The most important thing is to always be ready to surrender to what actually wants to come through you as a divine occurrence, right? So like I said, I started out, I want to be like Will Smith. I want to be like Denzel Washington. But then all of a sudden it began to evolve into I'm kind of deviating from that path, but going towards my own path which resonates with my personal divine expression. And that, right, is where your true success lies, right? Your true success lies in your willingness to follow your intuition. Follow your inner guide, your emotions, and what you're drawn to. And that leads us into number 2, right? Feel what your success would be like as an actor. And this is so very, very, very important, right? Because here's the thing. We are feeling beings, right? We are feeling beings. If we can feel into stuff, if we can feel into life right then and there, we will know and understand what it is that we need to move towards, right? In case in point, you should feel out every single thing that you do. Every place I walk into, I register the energy. How does it feel with me? Does it feel heavy? Is it pulling? Does it feel light? Right? There always has to be a lightness if I'm going to go somewhere, if I'm going to dwell or be somewhere for a long period of time. But when it comes to success, the one thing I never wanted was to be a success by someone else's standards and just feel like crap on the inside, saying like, I'm living everybody else's life but my own. This is not what I wanted, right? And it took a lot of like basically breaking down layers to really get to that point, right? And so, when I finally got to it to where it was like, fame's not important, right? Yeah, I mean, I've had a little bit of it, like, from job to job here and there and stuff like that, but that's not important. That was just something I wanted because I wanted approval at some point in time, right? So put that aside. Working all year round is not something I wanted either. Like I wanted to do, you know, a couple of jobs here and there that really resonated with me, that really spoke to my soul as an actor. And then I wanted to podcast. I wanted to do videos. I wanted to write articles. I wanted to appear, you know, as a special guest on shows and stuff like that. I never wanted to be that person. And plus my family, you know, part of having balance in life is integrating your personal with your professional. I just didn't want to be gone 6, 7 months at a time. That just wasn't for me. Right. So when I begin to really feel what it is that I wanted, I could do something that was so important. And that was just write that down. And I wrote it down because then it became visceral. And I love that word visceral because it's just a raw feeling, something that I'm completely drawn to. I put everything aside as to, okay, I'm going to feel into what I truly want in this career, not what anybody else feels like I should be. I'm going to define success for me. And we've talked about that a couple of days in a row, but I'm going to define success for me, and I'm going to move from there. And so you start feeling into it, and you start getting impressions, and you start really understanding, okay, this is what this is like. Okay, this makes sense, right? When I sat down to write a book, I'm like, this feels right. Right? This feels really good. I feel really in touch with this being a part of my career. And then I wind up writing 2, right? So it's always about feeling what your success would be like as an actor. And here's the thing, be open to everything. Don't just say, oh, nope, don't want to do that. Be open to everything. Tap into your inner resource to see what it is it's drawing you towards, and follow that lead, feel into it, see yourself, feel yourself as the success that you already are. Because when you get the feeling, as Reverend Ike used to say, feeling gets the blessing. All right. Number 3. And this is kind of like, it puts the bow on it, right? Experience what your success would be like as an actor. And what does this mean? This basically just comes down to working from the end back to the beginning, right? I used to daydream about what it would feel like to succeed in the way that I desired. And then when it actually happened, I tell you, when you set out to do something and it takes a bit of time, but you finally get to that place where you do it, you finally experience it. It is one of the greatest feelings of gratitude for yourself, for everybody involved that you could ever experience. And it becomes this otherworldly feeling, right? Truth of the matter is, you can feel that right away, right? So let's say you want to be a spokesperson for a huge brand in commercials. And all of a sudden you figure out who's done that. You know, you pick out, you know, Flo from Progressive, or I can't figure out the girl's name from AT&T, but you know, you pick out one of these people and you see the type of career that they have and you say you want that, right? So you feel into it and you feel if it resonates with you. And then once you feel into it, you experience it, right? Because here's the thing, everything that you're seeking is seeking you because it's already on the inside of you. Right? It's already on the inside of you. And knowing that it's already on the inside of you, you can go right to the feeling of the experience that you want and allow it to be able to resonate like it's happening right here at this moment. And here's what that does. When it's in true alignment with yourself, it magnetizes it to your very being, into your very existence at the very perfect divine time, right? That's what happens when you catch on to a feeling that's really compatible with what your soul wants for you, right? You magnetize it to yourself extraordinarily quickly, right? And that becomes literally the last step. Now, there's a step that I didn't necessarily say that I'm going to talk about here in just a bit, but once you've experienced what your success would look like, what tends to happen? You begin to operate as somebody who's moving from a successful place. And I cannot begin to tell you how much of a difference that makes in how you carry yourself and how you work and operate on set, right? Or in auditions, right? There's just a different, a perfect example would be, how do you act when you have, let's say you've done 45 jobs, right? Take myself, for instance. I've done like almost 50 different jobs in acting in the 13 years that I've been doing it, right? And knowing that, and in understanding that I'm kind of just getting started, right? There's a certain aura I carry about myself because I have that experience, as opposed to me being green and only doing like, when I started like a student film or something like that, there's a big difference in how I act, right? And how I move. Because unless, as that individual who's only done the student film, unless I get to that place where I've already experienced my success that I have right now, right? Because it has to start in consciousness first before it can be moved to reality. Unless I can do that, right? I need to figure out how can I already experience the success that I'm wanting, or the success that I know that I deserve, because wanting is just reaching. If we know we deserve it, we know that we already have it. If we already have it, it's only a matter of time before it manifests, right? So experience comes from that feeling, right? That feeling leads you to the actual experience of what would this be like, right? And what's cool is, what I've done is I've had pictures of the red carpet on my phone as my wallpaper, right? I've movies that I've done. There's been times where, and I talk a lot about this in the book, where I would play movies that I was in the background, because what it did, it registered to my subconscious mind that I was already experiencing the success that I wanted, right? And so that created such a monumental difference in my career and in my life, because every time I would look at that film, I was like, I'm doing it. This is me, right? This is happening. I would watch my reel on YouTube on my television, and it would just show me, okay, this is me living the success that I desire, that I've wanted. I already have it, right? So it's small cues like that you can do to really register the success that you're looking for. And so what I'm going to tell you here last that I didn't put down is, when you get to a place where you know that you have something already, right? When you know that you have something internally already, you relax, you let go. There's a sense of relief, right? There's a sense of, I don't need to push and pound and grasp and move people out of the way for this, because it's already unfolded. It's already happened within my consciousness. Now I'm just waiting for it to manifest into reality, right? So it's really awesome to see stuff like that sort of come together, right? And then the process from there becomes just letting go, right? Letting go. And what I mean by letting go is just relaxing into it, knowing that this will happen and this will happen at the perfect time, right? Because when you know everything happens at a perfect divine time, which everything does, there's no force. There's only patience. There's only trust. There's only love in every single thing that you do. And because of that, everything magnetizes to you a lot more quickly, because there's no obstructions. There's no energy pushing it or trying to pull it to you, right? You can just relax into the idea that everything you seek is seeking you and it's coming to you. Eventually it's going to get there. You're going to have it because you're experiencing it right now, right? So it's that understanding, right? We start by knowing intellectually what it is what kind of success that we want. Then we go from knowing to feeling the type of success that we want, right? Once we get the feeling, then we go to the experience of it. And once we have the experience of it, we let it go because it's already done, right? It's already done. All right. That wraps up today's package. Once again, guys, if you hadn't got it yet, go get that book. Amazon. There's a link in the description. Kindle and paperback, very minimal. The price is on these because everybody should be able to get exposed to this value that I feel like that I'm bringing to the table. So I'm very confident in that, and I desire for it to help you. So links in the bio, paperback or Kindle, you choose. If you do wind up buying it, a review would be awesome. If you could do that afterwards, that would be terrific. Other than that, guys, that is greatly appreciated right off the bat. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback, any correspondence, guys, write SeanG04@gmail.com. Ready and willing here to help you. The main objective is just being in a space to really think about unconventional stuff that can help us to be the best that we desire, right? It's just, it's putting us into that space of knowing, realizing that the truth of the matter is, okay, what can we do creatively different that takes us to the next level of us being the very best that we can in our acting? And that's what the Vibrational Actor is all about. All right. So with that being said, guys, have a wonderful night, a wonderful, wonderful day whenever you're seeing this. And I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care. Who dat? Who dat?